Hey everybody, Mark here from Mark's Grand Valley Plus. I'm going to try a little something different today. Video might not be quite as long, but because I'm going to try some different techniques. On the back down on the wall is a great Christmas gift I got from my daughter that I just mounted up there. I love it. It's beautiful. But basically, I'm going to be making some major changes to my layout. And instead of doing them and then showing them to you like I generally do, I wanted to show you what I wanted to do first. I'm hoping I can add a picture of the layout that I did in AnyRail Plus to show you how these changes are going to work out. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, so let's get started. I want to show you what I'm going to do, and then we'll talk about it. All right, so one of the things I alluded to in one of my tips that I did not too long ago was the problem I'm having with the turnouts coming from the Grand Valley section of my layout into the Plus section. These S-curves, though they work pretty well for most of my locomotives and rolling stock, they don't work with some, and I was going to be fine with that until I wasn't going to be fine with it. And so I'm going to basically rip this out from approximately here, going down to here, and replace these standard turnouts with some number 4s. As I'll show you in the AnyRail track plan that I laid this out in, it should work without having me to have to rip up a whole bunch. But that's basically what I'm going to do here, is going to rip all this out, replace those turnouts with number 4s, top and bottom, number 4s, top and bottom, and make the connection. It'll be a much smoother transition from the one rail to the other, so I should easily be able to go in and out. The next section of the layout that I want to work on is right over here. I want to replace this turnout right here, but again, it's a standard turnout, and a little bit of this straight track in here, and replace this all with a number 5, which will give a smoother turnout, and then eventually come down and meet up with the track somewhere down in here. But this will give me a much better transition coming out of the yard and roundhouse area to get back into the main layout. So this is going to be fun project as well, but I think I will be very happy when that is done. Now, the last part I want to work on is this section over here, where again I have an S-curve being created by 2 standard turnouts over here. I'm going to work from this area over into this area. Yeah, I'm going to have to redo my road, but it is what it is. And replace these 2 turnouts, again, with number 5s, which will give me a much smoother transition coming into here and then coming in over in this area over here. But again, I think that this is going to be helpful, smoother for me to come off of the main into the yard area and over into my turntable area and roundhouse area, and make up new consistent trains and stuff like that. So that's going to be the third section that I'm going to work on. So the last thing I wanted to talk about was the last project that I'm going to do, which is going to be sort of semi-big. Not too bad, but it's going to be an undertaking. For those of you who watched my video and my channel in the past, you've known that about a year ago or so I tore this whole yard section out here, and I replaced it with a turntable and a roundhouse, which I love. I mean, I play with it a lot. I don't usually record that, but I do play in this area and have fun with it. So But when I did that, I obviously took out a lot of storage for a lot of my cars and stuff like that. And that's kind of concerning to me because I have cars actually still stored in boxes, and those that I don't, they're on the layout, or I'm pulling really long, consists. As you can see here, I've got some really long consists going on here of 15, 16 cars. I mean, it's fun, don't get me wrong, but I don't always want to be pulling all those cars. It's not necessary. So I'm going to show you in a second here what I want to do. So those of you who are familiar with the Grand Valley layout, you know that you have a couple of openings that you cut in the side in case you need to access any derailments or anything that might happen inside of the tunnels. Well, what I've determined I can do is there's a straight section of track right back here that ends after this curve. It's only 9 inches long, and if I put a standard turnout in here, it also, the straight part of that is 9 inches long and will curve out coming this way, coming out of this mountainous area. So what I am going to, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to have it come around over here, go this way, and into a shelving, and into this shelving system that I've started putting together here. Right now I've only got 3 tiers of this 5-tier shelf that I'm going to do, but it's going to go on here. I have 2 more of these. They're each 40 inches wide, and 3 times 4 is 120 inches, is 10 feet. And that's exactly how far the right edge of my layout here is from the ending wall of my basement down here. So I'm going to put 3 of these together, put some styrofoam on here, and put a fiddle yard in here where I can store a lot of my remaining freight cars and stock that I have. Not going to do anything fancy with it. Probably not going to bother scenicking it or anything. It's just sort of going to be a hidden yard. So what you're seeing here is the plan for the yard. If you'll notice on the very top spur, what I've done is I left myself a way to be able to pull a train in as far to the right as I possibly can before that turnout, drop it off, uncouple, go to the right, and then make my way down to the second spur and make my way back to the other side, and then be able to disassemble the cars on the top spur and then rearrange them on the bottom 5 spurs, and then be able to reclassify and make a new consist at the top. So I thought that was an important idea, instead of just pushing everything in and then, or pulling it in and leaving myself trapped. So here's a picture of my entire layout. From top to bottom, that's 9 feet. And from left to right now, it's 21 feet. It was 11 feet in the original configuration before I added the yard there that you see at the top. Anyways, I just thought I'd give a pretty quick view of what this looks like in my AnyRail track planning software. That's how I figured out most of this. Just thought you'd like to see what the whole thing looks like. So that's really about it. I hope to get started on this pretty soon. I'm going to record this as I go along, recording some of what I'm doing, how I'm tearing apart, and what the result is, putting it back together. Hopefully all my stock still runs well, because it runs pretty well right now, and that's what I'm hoping for. But it should make for having more fun on my layout, because I get a little upset when I have to restrict what I can do with my locomotives and rolling stock, because they can't really go through those turnouts very well. So that was something I probably should have tested before I started ballasting the track. But I didn't have a lot of this stuff that I have now when I was doing that. These are things that I added on. So stay the journey with me. It should be fun. And see you next time.